This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out of Me. Welcome back, everyone. You know what to do.
Yes.
You know what to do at the beginning of every single episode.
It's time.
You go to YouTube predominantly, but you can go to any of your web zones. Anywhere you get podcasts, go like, comment, subscribe. Really helps out the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate you.
If you got suggestions, give it to us.
Suggestions every 5 episodes. If you drop it in, we will get to it. If it's the previous year, we'll get to it sooner. If it's not, then we'll get to it when we get to that year. Kind of more housekeeping. We might be on just a brief break, about a week or so.
We'll try
Potentially, we'll try to do an episode Tuesday, but no promises.
But if not, you'll see us after...
In July.
Yes, like right away.
You will see us in July. So, sorry, but life happens. So...
Yes.
You have a ton of content. If you're new,
you have over 260 episodes of
if you're new
nonsense.
Here, you have a lot of shit to listen to. If you're not, go listen to your favorite episode. Go listen to Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Watch the movie.
Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
I'll be on social medias.
Yeah, I mean, you can still talk to us.
Yeah, you can still talk to us. You just chat, whatever. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Really appreciate all of you. For helping the podcast out in whatever way you do, even if you're just a casual listener, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I think that's all the business. Let's get. I want to talk about this movie,
Mankillers.
Now, David Pryor has a prior film. You see what I did there?
Prior conviction.
You see what I did there?
I do.
Prior to Connection.
He had a movie called Sledgehammer that we we thought it was, reasonably entertaining for garbage.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this guy does not have a good reputation.
And in 1987, he made 3 films.
3 movies. We watched the first of the 3.
We will have all of them.
This was the first of the 3. So
Mankillers.
Mankillers is it.
And if you're like me, you know who this guy is. You see that title, and immediately in my head, I'm thinking, all right, I know exactly what it's going to be. And then you watch it.
And it's exactly what you think.
It's exactly that, and thank you.
Listen, if you're this kind of dude that watches these kind of action movies, you know what you're getting into. And you have this certain kind of lizard brain that is going to be tickled by this movie. Because David Pryor...
is that lizard.
He is the lizard man. He loves women. And he loves showing off their features.
Because, we just watched an Al Adamson movie that we absolutely roasted. Al Adamson also loves...
Al Adamson also loves females.
And this has similarities to that. But you blame it on whatever you want to blame it on. This entertains me way more.
Yeah, the female features are full on display in this.
It's literally in the title. I mean, you know what you're going to get.
So,
have you seen The Dirty Dozen? What if The Dirty Dozen was made on $5 and had 12 hot women?
Hot women instead of
12 dudes.
12 dirty dudes.
12, yeah, I mean, I was going to say dirty hot women, but that's so quickly glossed away. It's great.
Yeah. Well, for some reason we'll just get this out of the way right now. They all wear the shortest of short shorts and the most revealing tops that possible without being nudity.
Yes, there is no nudity in this.
It is a very lewd film. I wouldn't say nude, but it's lewd.
It knows what it's doing.
Because every single woman in this movie is dressed as skimpy as humanly possible.
Yes, while firing off guns and running around
and throwing knives,
like stabbing dudes in dicks.
Yeah, seducing men and then punching them in the face.
It happens more than once.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's amazing. So let's get the plot out of the way really quick because it's not going to be. I mean, it's very simple. So basically,
there's a guy.
The beginning is this guy he's an evil dude because has his hair slicked back into a ponytail.
He's wearing all black.
And he has a goatee, and he's wearing all black.
And
they're meeting on like a mountaintop with a giant cross on it.
It's supposed to be Colombia.
It's not Colombia.
How dare you say that?
And so this one dude, this schlubby dude comes, like all their uncles come out, and they're like, show me the stuff.
Show me the goods.
And he's like, okay, but don't touch.
He's like, I'll show you my merchandise. You show me yours first. And then
he opens like this little suitcase, and it's
cocaine.
And
the best, 97% pure.
He starts touching it, and one of the guys is like, "Hey, you can't do that!" And he punches him out, and then like points a gun at him. He's like, "Don't you ever touch me again!"
And then
he snorts cocaine,
and then he's like, "All right,
he's
now mine."
Yeah, he's like, "I showed you my goods. Now you show me yours."
And so he opens like a truck, the back of a truck, and there's 3 tied up women.
And so
he's like, yes, this is good.
He's like, that's good.
The other guy,
he's like, why don't you go back to the suitcase?
He sounds like a fucking text-to-speech or something.
Yeah, go grab me my suitcase. And then he just fucking shoots everyone.
Yeah, they have a shootout, and all the shootouts in this movie are hilarious.
You can explain the shootouts because they're all the same. They just... Literally, it's like a standoff, and then they start firing, and it's just the people in the same position just firing their gun, and no one hitting anyone for the first few seconds, and then finally we get squibs, and they're like,
Because we get massive squibs, and them just like going like ragdoll, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what happens here. They kill all of them, and then one of the women runs off. And one of those guys is like gonna go get her. He's like, no, let her go.
He like watches her
zooms in on him looking all pissed off, and then he shoots her. And then
we get an
office.
Yes,
it's the agency.
It's like a realtor office.
Yes, but it's the agency.
Yeah.
So they're like, damn it.
This old dude, he's like...
foiled again.
Damn it. He knows something. How does he know every step we're going to take?
Oh, yeah, no, because another thing that happened was after the shootout, one of his guys like goes and looks at one of the dead guys.
Oh, they're
he
feds.
Pulls out a wallet, and he's like, look, it's a fed.
Well, what's weird is they call them feds in this one scene, and then every other time, it's the agency.
Well, because technically, if anyone working for a federal agency is a fed. But they don't tell you, I mean...
Yeah, well, we don't know what agency it is.
Because it's a movie.
And so he's like, foiled again. He's talking to his secretary, and they're like, we need someone that's on his level. We need someone...
Who knows him better than he knows himself.
He's like, I'm talking about her.
No, and he's like, I know just who. And his secretary's like, oh no. And then... we get a bunch of guys in like a cemetery
hanging out on top of like a mortuary,
and then a dude and a woman walk up.
Not a mortuary, I mean a mausoleum.
Yeah. And then a dude and a woman walk up, and immediately we're just like, that is...
I love how they tried, okay? This dude, they just like frizzed his hair out and then put him in like the most 70s fucking suit
it's the past.
Imaginable.
Okay.
And then it's her, and they're like, okay. And the 2 dudes open the fucking mausoleum, and it's just a woman standing there.
And then he's like, nice place you got. And she's just like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. And they drop a briefcase.
And he's like, give it to us. They think he's a cop, or he is a cop. I don't know.
I think they were implying that he was once a cop.
And he went rogue. He takes it and immediately...
And then they give him the bag, but the bag's empty, so they shoot all 3 of the guys hanging out.
And they're like, what kind of cop are you?
And then, of course, they have their typical shootout.
Yeah, they shoot them, and then they drive off, and the woman and one of her goons, they give a chase on, like, an abandoned road. And they chase them.
For some reason, the one in like the villain's car, like the one they just like shook down, is driving like a total like drunken asshole because they keep hitting like the barrier and shit for some reason. And so
it's
finally
for effect.
So they
action.
So the woman in the back like fires at the driver and shoots the driver, and it
Kills him.
comes to a stop. Not a crash,
It stops.
just a gentle stop, because they just killed the driver. So why wouldn't you gently stop when you killed the driver? That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And so
He goes over
he
and
goes over and
kills her.
shoots her, and then
And
points
then-
the gun at the other woman,
And he's like, drop
our
it.
main woman.
Yeah. And she's like, she drops it and she's like,
you tricked me.
I trusted you.
I trusted you.
And then she says, I loved you. And he says, dumb bitch.
You
and he
used
shoots, and she wakes
up.
So
And
that's,
she's in the woods, and she has a crossbow.
she's just,
She's just chilling in the woods with a crossbow for some reason.
and two
Two
of course,
suits.
two
Two
goons
black suits.
show up to try to get her to.
She
"We
shoots
need
an
you back."
arrow at one of them and like lands right next to his head, and they're like,
Shoots the sunglasses off of one of them.
and they talk to her, and she's like, "I'm not doing anything for you.
We need you back. We need
We
you
need
back.
you back." And then she's like, "No," and then they're like, "It's whatever his name is. I can't remember the
Micklin.
Yeah, Micklin. It's fucking Micklin," and she's like, "Okay." And then like the next scene is her at the office talking
And then
to the old dude.
He's like, we'll offer you anything, and she's like, I want my old,
Job back, a full pension.
like all this stuff.
And then she's like, "But we're gonna do it on my terms, my team."
And he's like,
we're-
okay, we'll give you a list of our finest
like-
men.
she's like,
no
"No."
men.
No men. I want all women.
He's
And
like, what?
and she's like, "I know just where to
Well,
find
no, because
them.
first he's like, okay, well, I'll get whatever agents we have, and she's like, no.
I know where to find."
And in my head, I'm like, no, because she's like, she says something like they'll be glad to get out of there, like where I find them, and I'm
Yeah.
like, she's going to a prison,
Well, I mean, it literally the next scene is just cell block D,
and it's a woman's prison.
and it's a and apparently in this women's prison, in this movie universe, you can wear whatever you want. to
There's a
prison.
lot of shenanigans in this movie universe.
You can
okay?
wear whatever you want in this prison.
Well, at this point, yes, because
Jeans, pointed shoes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
they get 12 women, and they get them all in a room.
And she doesn't pep talk them. She's like, "You're all going to train."
Well, first,
She sizes them up first.
they go through all of them, and they read off their rap sheet.
Some are like really insane. Like one of them like
Assassination attempt on...
two world leaders.
Yeah. Another one, like, there's, like, bank robbery, like...
One of them killed a guard
With a
like,
knitting needle.
A knitting needle, and she's like, "Why'd you do it?" And she's like, "I already had a sweater."
And she becomes, like, the
boss.
she becomes the only character in the movie with a character arc. Put it that way.
Yeah, literally. The other ones don't have any character arc.
It would have been... We only have an hour and a half. Well,
Yeah. So...
But all of them are in prison for a long time. Either a long time or life or the death penalty.
And one of them's on death row.
Which is the knitting needle one.
And so she tries to fight back and gets her ass rocked.
Because she pops bubble gum.
Well, but remember she takes a swing at our main chick.
Because she tells her to
McKenna?
stop it. Yeah.
McKenna's her name? Yeah. And so she takes a swing at McKenna, and McKenna beats her ass up.
And basically tells them all, like, we're gonna train you,
and you're gonna live or die, but
but if you make it,
you're gonna be able to get out of here.
You're gonna get a full pardon.
Yeah.
And so if you don't want to do this, leave.
Yeah.
And they open the doors, and none of them leave. They're all like, okay, fuck it, we'll do it.
One of them is about to leave and then thinks about it and doesn't.
Yeah.
And so now we're at training.
Well, first there's a scene where it shows our compound, our villain compound.
So
the corrugate shacks.
Get used to this compound because it's literally like the main feature of this movie. In the women training and in the boss base.
It's just a bunch of corrugate shacks, and
they're
a guy,
living like goddamn homeless people out in the desert.
Some guy who talks like a fucking like infomercial salesman shows up with women. And then you see like him, like he like leads them in, and there's a guy that they keep cutting to in the camp, just like looking all sad, and I'm like, okay,
like what the fuck is that? Okay,
but he leads them, he gives them to the guy, and he's like, he gives them there's 3 of them, and the guy is like, I need 10, Like, I need more women. And he's like, well, that's going to cost you.
He's like, you're gonna have to pay double.
And so he like gives them the money like begrudgingly. And then as he's leaving with the money in his hand, he smacks one of the women
Just
on his way out.
And so our bad dude calls Bruno.
He's like, take these two and wash them.
And then he tries to get one of them to sleep with him, and she screams.
She spits at him, and he stabs her and
he
kills her.
Stabs her to death, and then Bruno takes the other two somewhere.
To be washed.
I guess.
Then we see our camp, our ladies' camp, where they are now dressed up in their, not the skimpiest yet.
No,
but
they're
skimpier.
They're in skimpier clothing.
They're wearing the short shorts, but they have like normal shirts because one of them's wearing like a fucking grandma sweater.
Yeah,
with like the shortest shorts on the planet.
I know.
And we get a training montage.
Yeah, so they're all doing like military, like jumping through like tires and
jumping over like
crawling underneath this
logs,
like corrugated thing, and
running through the woods.
Yeah,
and it just shows all this, and they're.
Well, we also get that insubordination scene where she's like, okay, you're all gonna run 4 miles, and then
this sucks.
The sewing needle lady is like, I'm not doing shit, and she's
10
like,
miles,
10 miles, and she's like, this sucks, and she's like 15 miles,
and they do all that. One of the there's like a sergeant there or something, and she's like, I don't know. They're pretty bad.
They're not going to be ready.
And she's like, oh, they'll be ready.
And so we get our old dude again, and he's like, don't worry. The secretary's like, I don't think they're going to be ready in time. And he's like, don't worry. I have a man on the inside that can help out.
And she's like, really?
She's like, really? You have a man on the inside? And he's like,
did you tell McKenna? He's like, no. I think it's better not to.
Like, he's going to help out. And then it immediately cuts.
Like a comedy cut. Yeah.
It immediately cuts to our dude, the fucking inside agent, like getting his shit rocked because like it cuts to him turning around and McKenna not McKenna, Micklund punching him in the face. And then they have like a fight.
They have like a.
So he immediately knows that this guy's a fucking double agent
because he fights and he beats him up. And then he has him like tied up,
strings him up
with a chainsaw, and he's like, "Who sent you?"
And he saws at his leg, and he's like, "Don't make me cut it off."
And he tells him,
It's McKenna."
And then he's like, "McKenna's dead.
I killed her." And he's like, "No, she's alive."
And he kills him.
And then he kills him.
He stabs him in the chest with the chainsaw.
This is like a comedy.
It's great.
I love the juxtaposition where he's like, "No, I have someone on the inside to help McKenna," and then he immediately gets fucking killed in the next scene.
There's also
it's fucking hilarious. They didn't waste any time.
No, there's no time wasted. There's also the scene where the crazy woman, knitting needle lady, tries to escape,
and then
2 of them beat her up.
Yeah, they get caught, and she's like, "Well, what happened here?" And they're like,
"She slipped on soap."
She slipped on soap, and she's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna keep training." So now we got the same.
Don't forget before this, there's the scene where they're like training with the grenades.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're throwing grenades. It's kind of a throwaway scene because they're just throwing everything. They're just throwing grenades.
They're throwing grenades, throwing grenades, and then one of them throws it, and like.
Oh, and then the sewing needle lady is about to get blown up, and McKenna jumps in and like saves her.
And she's like, "Why did you save me?" And she's like, "Because we're a team. There's no I in team. Like, the usual.
We gotta stick together.
You know what they're, yeah."
And so
she's like, she got change of heart now.
The next training scene is it looks familiar because it's the villain compound, but take out all the bad props like the curtains and shit.
And the walls.
So it's the exact same buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They just took all the ugly shit away. So now it's the training facility.
It's her,
and she's wandering around,
shooting at targets.
She's like floating around and shooting at targets, and then she gets done, and the old dude is there.
Well, don't forget, the last target is just a picture.
Oh yeah, and it's a picture of Strickland, Micklund, or whatever the fuck his name is. Just a picture of him, and she just stares at it And then it stares back, and then she shoots it.
She annihilates it, and then the old dude shows up, and he's like, "Listen, there's a problem."
He's like, "My dude, I had an inside dude, and he got found out."
And she's like, "You didn't tell me?" Like,
and he's like, "I need to fast track this." And she's like, "Okay, give me 3 weeks, 2 if I can really push it." And he's like, "You have 12 hours."
And then she's just like,
I love how like these could all be like comedic scenes, but they play it so fucking straight. It's insane.
Because the next scene is just her going into their like tent and being like, "All right,"
and she's like, "Okay, so
we're going
in the morning.
I'm proud of you.
You can leave if you want, I guess, but none of them leave. So
they're all in. They're all in." She's like, "I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the work we've done. Some of you probably won't make it, but whatever."
And so now we get our final, like, this is Act 3.
So they're in
the infiltration.
Yeah, they're in Colombia, I guess, and they're walking through the woods, and a bunch
Is it supposed to be set in Colombia?
The bad guy's shit
Colombia?
is supposed to be in Colombia. I know,
bro.
Look, David Pryor had
the
an
fact
imagination.
that I had to ask that question literally means that I did not realize that the entire fucking last
Why?
sequence...
Because it looks like it was filmed in Southern California?
Yeah.
Oh, because
it's not Colombia at all.
Because it is filmed in Southern California.
And so they're going through the woods, and they're like kind of like guerrilla warfare.
Now, all of them have skimpy shirts.
Oh, and like shorts that like ride all the way up.
Tiny shorts, tiny shirts. The movie, okay?
Yes.
All of them. It's incredible. And they have the big guns now.
And so they're walking through the woods, and then they finally stumble upon this clearing where all the other dudes are.
They pop out.
And again, it's like like every other shootout in the entire movie. They just stare at each other for a minute.
Well, no, they're like telling them like, "We got you.
Put down all your guns."
And then one of them like sneaks around and throws a grenade.
And they blow up, and then all of them pick up their guns again and start firing. And we just get scene after scene of a guy going ooh, and like
and
falling
guys falling. Occasionally, like one guy gets like karate kicked in the head. There's a guy who gets like. She like stabs him.
I do love the fact that they had limited amount of extras, so they literally like the same dude will die like 3 or 4 times
in different outfits.
Yeah, in different outfits. It's like a video game where it's like the same character model. Because
I admire it
because they didn't want to like keep making different assets.
Oh, I admire it.
Yeah,
because at some point, like at the end, there's a part where they kill like 30 guys, even though through the movie you see at most like 8.
Well, that's because it's just a dude's recycled.
That they just give him different outfits.
Ad nauseum,
like,
yeah.
This time you wear a bandana. This time you will not wear a bandana.
Exactly. So they make their way through those guys. One of the women dies, and they get separated.
One of the guys escapes.
Yeah.
And tells them, hey.
They get separated.
Yeah, they get separated, and
so one of the guys escapes, and he says, "Hey, McKenna's coming. She has like an army of women."
And they're like,
he's like, you guys got killed by women,
and you ran away.
You ran away, and he gets like annihilated, and he gets fucking killed by the main bad dude because he hates women. And
but he fucking he kills him, and so there's that. They capture 3 of them.
Well, so remember they get into a Jeep and they drive, and they confront the 3 remaining women because they lure them through a trap where there's 2 women tied
to a tree. Yeah.
And so they capture them basically, and they take them back to the compound, right?
But then there's a scene where one of the women who was like prisoner is running through the woods.
Yeah.
And the guy who like
this scene
supplies
is
them.
Not important to the movie at all. It just proves that this guy's already evil, which we already knew.
But more evil than we knew, I guess.
But we already knew he was evil. So
but we didn't know he is like that.
Well, okay. He is a man, so
typical man.
Typical man.
He is chasing this woman through the woods like a fucking gorilla. And
he finally catches up to her, and
he's like groping her, and he's like,
"Tell me you want me to fuck you," and
then he just keeps doing it,
and
then she says it.
She says it,
and then he gets up and he's like,
her in the head
because he's like, "I wouldn't dirty myself with you, slut," and he shoots her.
He's just a fucking asshole to be an asshole.
And that's the scene with that.
That's it, because it goes back to the other women that weren't captured,
and
they find one of the dead bodies.
They find this woman.
Oh yeah, that's right. And they cover her up, and then they're like, so the sewing needle lady has to give a pep talk because they all want to give up
because they're like, well, McKenna's caught. Like, this is over.
She's either dead or captured.
The mission's over.
We're cooked. Like, we're done. And the sewing needle ladies, I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. And she's like, no. Like, she put her life on the line. And like they're like, yeah, she put her life on the line for you, but she hasn't done shit for us.
And she's like, she got you out of that prison.
She got you out. Like, you were all gonna die in those cells.
And now you have a chance to do something good.
And they're like, fuck, you're right. And they're like, okay, fine, we're
got it.
And so they're gonna go infiltrate the fucking base.
Mankillers.
They're fucking Mankillers. And then, so our main one, like, McKenna's tied up, right?
Uh-huh.
And our bad dude comes in and he's like, I missed you. No, really, I missed you. And then,
like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Really, I missed you.
I missed you. Yeah. It's so stupid. So he like roughs her up because she's not complying and not telling him where.
No, he's like, what? How much do you know?
Yeah.
And she's not telling him anything.
Yeah, and so he gets pissed off.
And he goes to have a little moment. He just goes lay in bed.
He goes and lays in bed and smokes a cigar and looks up at longingly up at the ceiling.
While the women come in, slowly put like bombs around the place.
Well, so they slowly put bombs around the place, and then they're slowly taking out some of the guys. So they'll like throw a knife at one of them, and then this is where we get the seducing scenes. So
she comes up to one of them,
and she's
like lowers one.
This is for you. And he's like, oh yeah, and they like just they come up behind him and just choke him out.
You're death.
You're dead.
And then there's the fucking, oh my god, the fucking idiot who, killed the woman in the woods earlier. One of them does that to him, and she just, takes the straps down on her shirt, and then he just walks up to her like,
yeah,
and then he's like, you're gonna love this, baby.
You're gonna love this. And she like slowly they start making out, and she pulls out the knife, and she's like, you're gonna love this too, and stabs him in the dick.
And he like high pitched is like, you bitch, you bitch. Which, good. That was great. And
I mean, that guy deserved worse, but whatever.
Look, I mean, I'm glad it was poetic. David Pryor is a poet.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. He's progressive. Okay. He loves women.
Listen, there's very few people out there I could say love women more than David Pryor.
I guess so.
In this movie.
So they finally get to one of the little shacks that has the other women in it, and they release them, and they find they find McKenna.
Well, one of them finds McKenna, and like it's just there's like one guard in front of the shack, and then it just cuts to the inside of the shack, and the dude like flying across the shack after getting punched. And
so they free McKenna and shoot the guy, and that's when all the other ones are alerted to their location. So we get this giant shootout again, just them missing most of the time, doing the same fucking repeat animation,
and don't forget,
and giant squibs,
the bombs.
Oh yeah, and the bombs that are just firecrackers that they put in the ground.
Big firecrackers exploding, and like these
like cherry. They're almost like those like cherry bombs.
Yeah. And the actors like flailing themselves.
If you ever seen like Power Rangers, it's like the same effect where like they get like cut with like one of those things and the sparklers go off and they fly across the fucking field. It's like that.
That's what they do. They just launch
just with
themselves.
Smaller explosions,
and them just desperately launching themselves across the desert from these explosions.
And so,
but they kill like 30 dudes in this scene, and they blow up some of the shacks.
Well, and they finally kill everyone. The sewing needle lady gets fucking hit in the leg, and they're all kind of retreating.
And our main bad guy has been shot once.
He's been shot in the fucking chest.
Yes.
Where everyone else has died by getting shot in the chest. This guy does not. He's immortal until he's not.
He is still alive, and they're all like away from the camp, and McKenna's like, all right, I'm going to do this alone.
And sewing needle woman is like,
No, I
no,
wanna
I'm
help."
going with you. And
She's like, "No, this is my fight."
You need to stay here.
So she goes, she walks through there, like all slowly,
Taking out more dudes.
kills more
I don't
dudes,
know how there's more fucking henchmen in this tiny little compound.
while the dude sits behind a shack, and eventually
He gets shot in the leg and starts limping all over the place. And then he gets shot 2 times in the fucking stomach. And then still gets up.
gets shot in the stomach again.
Shots it, yeah. And then gets into a fucking car.
Because before she walked over there,
she got a bazooka.
she wrapped a bazooka around her back.
And so he gets in the car after being shot 6 fucking times.
My favorite is when he's in the car, he's like drenched. He's like laid backwards, like he's fucking on the verge of death.
Well, because he is.
Might as well be. But it's just like funny because like the shots of him in the car, he looks like he's dead.
Yeah.
And
she like takes the bazooka and you're okay. So
oh please,
I want to set this up.
Please.
In any other movie, you'd have this gigantic explosion, right? They have this junker car that they're going to completely annihilate.
They had no money.
I know. I'm just setting it up because in any other movie, you're waiting for this gigantic explosion, right? Like, ball of flames, just fucking huge, like momentous final explosion. This one, they put like maybe 2 cherry bombs in the trunk and like
the hood explodes,
and then the inside of the trunk just like kind of explodes with like firecrackers, and the smoke just starts billowing out, and that's it.
Well, so they blow up like the hood of a car with like the engine like blows up. They have a little bomb in there that blows up, and then the car stops, and then they had like 2 cherry bombs in the car interior, and that blows up, and you hear like him screaming, and that's it.
It's like the most lackluster fucking car explosion I've ever seen.
Considering what I sat through, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Well, because when they're blowing up the buildings, there's like no explosions either. It's like little tiny explosions.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And then they light some tires on fire.
It's
that's
the same
it.
thing.
That's it.
And she goes over to the group and is like, "All right, let's go home."
And that's it.
Roll
credits. Fucking simple, to the point.
Simple, easy.
Listen, this movie didn't dick you around, okay?
No,
it got to the point.
Yeah.
And it fucking did it efficiently.
It's entertaining.
This movie is adorable.
Doesn't waste your time.
This is like
they had no money and yet
high effort on no budget.
Yeah, they had no money and yet they are really going for it.
Yet another example of you can do it too.
I mean,
there is literally like
not everyone can be David Pryor.
It's true.
But
I'm saying like
yes.
It is possible to make an entertaining movie with like no fucking budget whatsoever.
Basic creativity.
Yep. Because listen, this movie, is it good? No, but it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah. Does it work? Yeah. This movie doesn't like.
Again, if you're lizard brained, you'll enjoy this movie. I guarantee it. If you're as lizard brained as we are, you'll enjoy it.
I mean, it's literally.
It's like classic revenge, like building a team.
Team like.
It's fucking awesome.
Bad guy compound fucking.
Is he acting like kind of atrocious and it looks ugly and fucking? But again, no budget, so you can't judge it too harshly because there's literally no budget here.
I mean, I will say at least they are trying.
They are doing that.
It's better than
like
no effort.
It's very high effort
for the little resources. Yes.
And I mean, they really went for it. They really just tried. I'm kind of curious about the other two.
Will. I know what's coming, and I'm so excited.
Because David Pryor, like you said before, is like Al Adamson if he made good movies.
Well, the thing about David Pryor is that I don't think any of his movies ever went into theaters, but looking at his movies, it seems like the budgets did get bigger and bigger.
David Pryor didn't film 3 fucking movies and Frankenstein them together.
This is an actual movie.
Yeah, this is an actual movie, not fucking 3 movies smashed together. Okay, David Pryor did not do that.
Listen, Al Adamson is such a fucking dip, a cheese dip. that there's a movie. I remember in 2 of his movies, he reused the same car falling over a cliff footage.
Yes, he did.
And
we pointed it out.
The mystery of those things is, I don't know which fucking movie it originally came from.
I have no idea. No fucking idea. Does it really matter?
For Al Adamson, no, it really doesn't matter.
Exactly. So,
but I appreciate the, when you watch a movie and there is no reused footage.
So let's shitty to pretty this shit.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because like I said, the other 2, so this is the least popular of the 3 movies he made in 87.
Which is weird because it's like, it's not unwatchable.
No, like, I mean, honestly, so just look at this movie up. It's on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find. Like, give it a go, honestly. I mean,
listen.
If you're like me and you kind of enjoy this kind of like,
I say this a lot, but if you're
cheap action stuff,
if you're like brain rotted like we are and have fucking lizard brains and just enjoy this kind of shit, you'll probably get a kick out of it. I guarantee it.
It's an hour and a half.
It's
cheap
like
action schlock.
It's just kind of fun. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
The acting is fucking awful, and like I said, it's ugly as shit, and like it's adorable what they try to do with like the shit that they have, because they were really going for it.
They really were.
It's admirable, but it looks so cute and funny.
But yeah, this is the least popular of the 3 movies he made.
Okay,
so I'm curious.
That actually bodes well for us for the next 2 though, because if this is the least popular, that means that the other 2 at least were popular enough to be a little better. I don't know. Not that it needs to be, because this is already okay.
It doesn't need to be. Well, as long as they're entertaining.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean is 8 out of 10 for me, solid rating. The other ones possibly will be even higher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
after the last movie,
I give it an 8 out of 10 too. Go check it out. It is on YouTube. Just search Mankillers movie. Yeah, I think is what I searched.
That's what you searched.
Yeah,
and it came up right away.
It's a channel called It's Only a Movie.
This does have a Blu-ray release apparently.
Yeah. Well, we clearly did not watch the Blu-ray release.
No, we
did not.
The version on YouTube we watched literally says
it's a VHS rip.
It literally says VHS rip.
So go enjoy it if you are interested. I think it's worth a watch. I definitely wouldn't turn it off because it's highly entertaining.
No, this is one of those movies where if I just watch this, I'll probably keep watching it because I am a filthy fucking degenerate.
We're dirty degenerates and we're lizard brained and fucking Neanderthals. And
I would see that opening shootout and I would be like, okay, this is funny.
Be like, I like beautiful girl bosses that blow shit up and fucking carry guns. And we're fucking how simpleton is that? Like,
it's just incredible watching this because you just know.
Well, you know what he was thinking.
You know what he's doing the whole time. What
he's doing, and it's actually like it's not like the worst thing we've seen like that.
No, not even. It's not even close. Well, see, the reason it's not even close to that is because it's still, for whatever shit you can say, it still functions like a fucking movie.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't completely. I mean, listen, they're wearing skimpy clothes, so I guess you could say that it does, but it doesn't completely like downgrade the characters to like the most simple form because they still have like characters and
they still win.
They still like get shit done. Most of them don't die. Like,
yeah, I mean,
they're pretty
honestly,
competent.
Only like 3 or 4 of them died.
Well, they don't like
out
ever.
Of 12.
They don't ever like poke fun at the women.
No, there's like so this movie has literally like 5 seconds of the whole movie in the beginning when the guy's like, "You want women? Women can't do this," and she just tells him like, "Women are way."
When we get another example,
way better.
We get another example of like kind of like fucking our dude bros like hanging out in the fucking Colombian desert in shacks are like, "You got killed by women, bro. What the fuck, bro? You got taken out by a bunch of fucking women. What? Fuck you. You're gonna die for failing against women.
That got one of the biggest laughs out of me.
Yeah.
When he's just like,
I love that scene.
well, he's just like telling him like everyone's dead. And then
It's McKenna.
But the thing that most outrages him is you ran away from women.
Yeah.
Not that they murdered 20 of your men in the woods.
I just love that's like the example I was trying to give is they kind of poke fun at the villains, right?
They know.
For underestimating women.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
So again, entertaining as hell. Go watch it. Go enjoy your lizard brain. It'll stroke it for you. If you're smooth brain like us, it'll do the trick.
It'll do it. It'll do it, baby.
The explosions aren't big, but they're there.
There's enough of them.
There is enough of them. There's a lot of them actually.
If you
they got a whole pack of cherry bombs.
Well, you start watching it and you can immediately see how cheap this is, and you just taper down your expectations.
Yeah,
and you're good.
Yep, exactly. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Manhunters.
Mankillers.
Mankillers. My bad. Sorry. I'm sorry. Mankillers. So, I guess.
Thanks. Yeah.
For they mostly come out at night. This has been Will.
This has been Alex.
And we'll talk to you all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't run away from women.
You got taken out by a bunch of women?
Bunch of girls.
A bunch of fucking women.